Hello and very welcome to my new channel, Wildlife Girl Stories. I have to tell you, I've been a reader for many years, but I've only started getting into reading journals last year. And after practicing for maybe half a year now, I figured I want to share my new reading journal for the first full year for 2026. And for me, it's planned to be just a nice place to keep some memories and find out which books I really like the best and which books I maybe want to come back to in the future. And I found that sometimes I just can't remember what happened in which book and which book was the good one that I really wanted to tell people about after a few years. And so I figured, why not keep a nice journal and just note it down for myself. So hopefully this beautiful Tifosi journal looks good enough for you to come join me while we flip through my setup for the new year and discuss what I've planned for the coming months. To start out, I've put in a little concept page just to remind myself of my goals and not to take anything too seriously or stress myself out about it. And I have prepared a little index page so that I can put down which pages have the monthly trackers that I'm going to set up over the year and any special spreads that I might come across with any readathons or other interesting things that I want to take down into my journal. I can keep them down here. So after that, we have my kind of goal quick view for the year, which is my goal overview of what I want to read this year. And for myself, I've set it at a rather low goal so that I can actually make sure that I will achieve it. And as I said, I don't want to stress myself out about reading because that's not the point. The point for me with having a reading goal is just to allow myself to make time to read and not feel like reading is not a valuable task, basically. So I want to read 60 books or magazines because I kind of count them as books as well, which makes sense in my monthly goals to read one physical book of my own and one magazine. This is quite important for me because last year I got really stressed out with library holds because I read mostly from the library and I don't buy that many books. And in the end, I ended up not having time for any of the books that I bought, which of course is not the idea behind buying books. Anyways, apart from my monthly goals, I also set some quarterly goals because I know I won't be able to do this every month, but I want to do it more than once in the whole year. So I want to finish a series once in a quarter so that I don't get stuck on reading 20 series at the same time. I want to read and annotate a book because some of the books that I've read last year, I thought that would have been a really good book to think about in more detail and maybe annotate as well. So I want to go ahead and start with that. And I also want to make a bit of time to just reread some of my favorites from the last years because, I mean, if they're really good, why not have some nice memories and go back into those pages? And apart from that, I won't do 26 and 26 because that would be about half of my books chosen already, and I don't want to do that. I like to mood read. So my priority reads over here are just 10 books, and half of them I own. So all the slight pinkish ones are the ones that I actually own and that I can read from my shelves, and the violet ones are the ones that I want to get from a library, and I know that my library has them, so it's fine. And just make sure that I get to them in this year as well. So let's continue to one of the nicest pages that I have, which is my bookshelf. I decided to set it up across 2 pages this time with a little Dutch door in the middle, just to have enough space to put down everything that I read, because last time I had a single page for it and that was quite tight. So I wanted to have it set up so that I can track all my unowned books on this side as well as any rereads and annotations that I do, which I have already put in the 4 books that I want to do in each of these categories, and my magazines. And on the other side, I have my physical TBR, which does look quite intimidating if I look at it like this, but well, that's kind of because a lot of these books have been with me for a long time. And of course, that doesn't make it easier to get to them. So I've been working full-time for a while now, and a lot of the books on the lower half of this have been on my shelves since before that, and some of them just don't interest me as much anymore. And probably I should go through and see which ones I actually still want to read and which ones I don't. But for the moment, I've just put them all on here, and I'll see what I get to. But up here, that's the ones that I've bought fairly recently, so hopefully I can at least make a dent in those ones, and probably over here as well. So yeah, that's my shelves. So moving on from my shelves, we get to some nice fun activities that I have set up for my coming year, which start with the book bingo. I have 2 playing boards actually. And for me, the idea is not to have a lot of goals that I all have to do with separate books and not to use a book for different prompts or anything. The thing that I want to do is to make sure that I read diversely. So I have set up quite a few nice plans for myself on different book types, different genres, different page counts, then everything around series and around different types of books in terms of I do a lot of role-playing and I want to read something about that. I'm interested in having some more mixed media on my shelves as well, some non-fiction of course, and just having something different basically. And on the second part, I have set up a diversity of themes, which means that I want to have a lot of different topics in my books. And first of all, that starts out with having different locations, so a forest, a desert, or the ocean. And then one of the things that I really want to focus on this year is looking into different kinds of animals and how they are portrayed or what I can learn about them. So we have a whole line of more house animals, birds, anything nice, and a whole line of wild animals, which is kind of where my wildlife girl comes from, because I've done a lot of biology and conservation work in the past. And I want to get into reading about those animals as well, just because I like them. I also want to have different settings, because I like to have a diversity in that as well. And I figured a bit of travel would be nice as well, so looking into something that contains a boat or a carriage or a train or a space trip. And I think that will be a lot of fun to tick all of these boxes, and I can combine those 2 boards. So if I find a book that fits in one of the boxes here and in one of the boxes here, that's fine for me. I don't care. I just want to have 25 things that I read about in the year, and how many are in which book is not my major point in reading this. Then next I have set up some of my goal spreads just to keep track of them in more detail. So for the monthly goals, which is a magazine and one of my physical TBR books, I really just want to note down the titles so that I can color them in and see that I've done my reading and that it works out. I've left a little bit more space for the quarterly goals, which is always a series, a reread, and an annotated book, so that I can mark down the book and the title with the author and anything that I want to note down as well. So, easy spread. And then I have something that is also a lot of fun, I'm sure. So I want to read about different countries or from authors of different countries. So this can collect both, either the country that the author is from or the country that the book plays in. And I just want to have a little flag. That's the placeholders for the little flags that I've set up here, and just write down which book and which country. And on this page, which looks very empty now, but hopefully it will look really nice when it's full, I want to collect all the animal types that I read about. I already said I really like animals. I'm going to read a lot about animals, and I'm just going to attempt to either draw them on this page or maybe just print them out as stickers and just put them in like this. But I want to collect as many animals as possible on this page throughout the year. And that's what I consider fun. Well, one more challenge that probably everybody knows already is just to look at the alphabet challenge that I've seen quite a lot on booktube. And I want to separate that between the authors and the titles. So I'm just going to collect first and last names of the authors and first letters of any word in the titles, because that makes sense to me. And as I said, I don't want to stress myself out about this, so if I don't manage to put all of these down, that's fine, I don't care. But I'm interested to see how many I can fill up, and I found last year that taking part in some reading challenges, or at least taking a bit of part in some of the reading challenges, made me consider books that I hadn't seen before and hadn't thought about before, and that's something I like. So this might just be a point of maybe let's try and find a book that fits this letter, because then there's no gap anymore. And I'm interested to see where that takes me. With this, we're done with the general pages for the goals, and we come to a few more pages that I always have or really found good in my last reading journal. And that is first the series tracker. I mean, I probably have started more series than these, but these are the ones that I'm actively continuing right now. And so I'm looking forward to go into all of these books. And I will start out with quite a few of them right away in January. So I've just gotten A Gathering of Shadows from the library, and I'm really looking forward to reading this one. And also, I have this beautiful Throne of Jade, which is the second book in the Temeraire series, that I really, really want to read because I love the first book and I really like Naomi Novik, so gonna read from her again. Anyways, this is nice. Apart from series, I still want to have some collection of authors that I'm not currently reading series of, but that I liked so much that I really want to read more of. And so I've set up this page to just note them down and just be like, okay, these guys, I really like their writing style and I really want to read more from them. And in most cases, I already have a plan of which book I might be interested in, so I put that down here as well. So, a few more pages to go, but not that much to see at this point. I already have set up my yearly stats page because I like tracking numbers. I work in IT, so that probably makes sense. And I've done a lot of statistics back in uni, and so I just want to have this set up so that I can, at the end of each month, just put in the stats that I've gotten for that month already. And it's not about stressing myself once again, it's just about having some fun numbers and looking at them when the year is over. Also, I've set up a Hall of Fame because I really want to do a ranking matrix again of all my 5-star books, or maybe my 5 stars and my 4.5 stars, depends on how many 5 stars I will find in the coming year. And also I want to have space for my top 5 books, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Which is something I did the first time this year and really had fun with it, so why not do it again? Well, and that is it. This is all that I have set up in this beautiful new journal. In comparison, just a sneak peek if you're still here, this is my last reading journal, which is not as beautiful, but it worked out fairly well, so I won't complain. And as you can see, it got quite a lot of use and a lot of nice little book spreads inside of it. So I'm really looking forward to see what's going to happen with the coming year and what my favorite books will be. So in case you're interested about what I read, these are my favorite books of the last year, and my top 5 were probably books that you've heard of, most of them for sure, which is Blood Over Braidhaven, which just kind of blew me away. The storyline was amazing, and I never saw the ending coming, and it was probably one of the best standalone books that I've read in my whole life. I still sometimes think about all the implications, and I really want to reread this at some point and annotate it, because I feel like there were a lot of really good points in it. And a second book that I like pretty much as that one is Project Hail Mary, because I like sci-fi. I want to get more into it because I haven't read that much from sci-fi. But as I said, I studied as a biologist, and it was just really well done on how scientific it was and how the main character really felt like a scientist. And unfortunately, I can't really say much more about the book, because if I would be spoiling everybody that hasn't read it. So if you haven't read it and you like sci-fi and you like scientists and you like some nice, funny jokes on the way, you should really read this one. And then the third one after those two that I really enjoyed in the last months was His Majesty's Dragon, which is the first book in the Temeraire series from Naomi Novik. I don't have it here right now because I'm still getting it. It took a lot longer when I ordered it to get here than the other books in the series did. And I really loved how dragons were portrayed in this book, and the relationship between Captain Lawrence, which is the main character, and his dragon was amazing, and I really enjoyed it. And also, I really like Naomi Novik. I've read quite a few of her books, and I find it so fascinating how she manages to have a completely different tone to the characters in each single one, which just makes me want to read more. So I'm totally committed to this lovely series, even though it's 9 books long, so I will have some reading to do for the coming year for sure. And on places 4 and 5, I have A Psalm for the Wild Build, which is by Becky Chambers, and it's a really nice little book, little novella that helped me get through some hard times in terms of just had me focus on the good things and think about life in different ways. And I really liked the relationship between the monk and the robot in the book, and it was a nice little palate cleanser which had a lot of interesting topics, especially around environment. Maybe I will talk about that some more in a different video, but it was really good and I enjoyed it. And finally, I started reading something from V.E. Schwab, which is A Darker Shade of Magic. And as I said already, I'm continuing this trilogy as well because it was a really cool fantasy and amazing world building. I like the different Londons and the ways to switch between them. And I really want to see where it takes me. So yeah, that was my reading for the last year. And if you're still here and still interested and maybe looking to come back at some point, I will also be rereading actually, Gideon the Ninth, which I read first in 2019, I think, 2020, something like that. And back then I obviously couldn't continue the whole series, but now my hold from the library is almost ready for the second book, so this will be a January read as well, just so that I can continue the series. And I do like some classical books sometimes. I have not read too much by Jane Austen. I've of course been through Pride and Prejudice, but apart from that, I've mostly seen movies and series, and I liked the series version of Sense and Sensibility, and that basically helped me decide which book from her to read next. So whenever I feel ready to dive into this one, I have this beautiful version of it here that I'm gonna go and read. So yeah, that's all about my reading tastes and my plans for the coming few weeks. And I hope you liked it here with me in my new channel, Wildlife Girl Stories. And if what I've told you about sounds interesting to you, please do come back. I don't think there will be a video from me every week because I really can't do that. I work full time, but I will be trying to do at least monthly updates. So look forward to that. And let me know in the comments if there's any books based on my reading tastes that you think I should read. I would be really interested in that. Thank you a lot for watching. Have a nice day and have a really good start to your 2026.